I'm gonna turn emojis into pretty girls. I'm Man217 and I'm gonna use this spin wheel to pick my random emojis. Let's get started. The first emoji is the cool emoji. This is the perfect emoji to start with because it's kind of easy to turn this emoji into a pretty girl. You just have to add sunglasses to the character because that's what cool people do. We wear sunglasses. I'm not cool. I'm so glad the wheel picked this emoji because now I don't have to draw, well, the other eye or any eyes. But I do want to point out a quick tip for you guys. If you are drawing glasses on your character, even if it's sunglasses, you should still draw your guidelines. So draw the brow line or draw the eye line or draw the circles for the eyes, just so you know where the glasses need to go. As you can see here, I drew the ear way too high because I didn't have any reference lines, so I didn't know where the ear had to go, but I just used the lasso tool to quickly just drop it down to where it had to be. Although this character is already looking really cool, I wanted to make sure I don't only focus on the glasses to make her cool, so I gave her this really cool hairstyle. I gave her a shaved head on the side of her head, kinda like Gwen Stacy from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And I think that makes her look super cool. I honestly like to add that shaved head to my characters pretty often. I've been doing it for years. I'm not saying the creators of Gwen Stacy's new haircut copied me, but you know, somebody owes me some money. But I didn't want to give her straight hair like Gwen. I gave her nice, textured, very curly, very beautiful hair. Even curlier than Shark's hair. Right, Shark? Yeah. It's curlier than yours. Normally, I would suggest drawing your glasses on a separate layer. In case you don't do a good job, you can just erase it or delete the layer and start again. If you make a mistake and you have to use the eraser tool, you might erase your other line art and you don't want that to happen. So yeah, separate it in a different layer or start with your glasses. Again, I didn't want to focus on just the glasses to make her cool, so I gave her 3 ear piercings because, you know, 1 is not cool enough. I don't have any ear piercings. I guess I'm not cool. I also decided to give her a nice button-down shirt with it open. That's what cool people do. We don't button up our button-downs, we leave them open. So if you button up your button-downs, you're not cool. I'm just kidding, you're very cool. You're so cool. You know what'll make you even cooler? If you like and subscribe and hit that bell. Picking the colors for her was very easy because I wanted to make sure I get that yellow emoji color. So I gave her that yellow shirt. My favorite part of this character was the rendering. Rendering her was a lot of fun, partly because of the glasses on her face, gave a nice drop shadow, and I loved the way that looked. But the main event for me here was rendering her hair. I moved over to Photoshop because I love the Photoshop brushes. I have so many brushes to choose from, and I went with textured brushes for her hair, and I even used them in the rendering process. It gave her hair a nice, beautiful texture. I feel like we need a name for her, so I'm gonna call her Alicia Cool. Kinda sounds like Alicia You're Cool, but it's Alicia Cool. Initials AC, cause she's cool like an air conditioner. Moving on to the next emoji, spin the wheel. The next emoji is the swear emoji. Kids, don't swear. We don't do that over here. Ah! I hit my foot. For this character, I needed to make sure that I capture how angry she is. She has to be so angry to use that language. So I gave her these very cartoony stylized eyes, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't keep. It was too cartoony for me and I couldn't figure out why, but I didn't like the way it looked. I obviously had to keep in that censorship thing over her mouth because you can't see what she's saying. It's naughty. Also, I wanted to show how angry she is, so I want her yelling, and she's so furious that her aura and her chi is making her hair stand up. Like she's turning Super Saiyan. You know I had to give her the Mr. Potato Head treatment and give her her angry eyes. For her costuming, I just went with a tank top and a cool choker to show that she's bad. I feel like chokers are associated with you a bad girl. For the coloring, it was easy. The emoji is mostly red on top of that yellow look, so I wanted to show that redness by giving her the red in her hair, her shirt, and her choker. I also added another layer on top of the skin and on top of the skin's rendering and set the opacity down and just painted it over with red to make it look like she's yelling so loud and she's so angry that her face is turning red. I further exaggerated those angry eyes by adding the red veins that you see to make her look even more furious. And since we named the last character, I feel like we have to call her something. I'm gonna call her my wife. I'm just kidding, my wife doesn't swear at me. Right, baby?
Shut the fuck.
She's such a kidder. Spin the wheel. The next emoji is the flirting emoji. I've received this emoji a few times in my life. No, I didn't. I'm not gonna lie, drawing this emoji as a pretty girl was kind of intimidating for me. I was intimidated by this one because I wanted to make her look extremely attractive, very hot. I know beauty is in the eye of the beholder and inner beauty is more important, but that's just something that you ugly people say. Not you, you're not ugly. You're beautiful, especially when you hit that subscribe button. I was very focused on trying to make her more appealing and I got distracted and I just forgot to just have fun. And I felt like you could see that in the beginning of this piece. So I had to get out of my head and just draw and have fun with it. She is beautiful and I don't have to overthink that. We associate red with Valentine's Day, and when we see somebody wearing red lipstick or red dress or red jacket, we associate them with beauty and attractiveness. So I wanted to give her red lipstick, red hair, and a red dress. So she was kind of giving me Jessica Rabbit vibes, and I didn't want that. So I changed her dress to be a corset. Also, I wanted to show her bosoms. I did it for you guys. I did it for you. After I stopped overthinking the drawing, I realized that I wanted to have that heart that's in the emoji, and I didn't want to just draw the heart. So I got a brain blast like Jimmy Neutron, and I drew her doing this with a heart. I thought that was very creative, very clever. I hate drawing hands, but I got through it, and I think it looks amazing. Move on and spin the wheel. The next emoji is my favorite emoji here, is the zany emoji. I know y'all think of me as this sexy, cool, suave, flirty guy, but I'm very silly. What, you guys didn't think that other stuff? No? Oh. Drawing her was a lot of fun. This is probably the most fun I had in the entire project. It's just fun to draw her being silly. Now, I did have trouble with the eyes. I wanted to draw her eyes like the emoji is, but it looked too cartoony and too fake and way too exaggerated. So I had to rework the eyes a few times before I realized that I couldn't do the eyes like that. So I ended up drawing the eyes looking more toward the bottom of the nose and like, whoa, being very goofy and being very silly. Originally, I was gonna pick the pigtail hairstyle, but I decided to go with braids instead, giving her two braids like the pigtails would have looked anyway, because I just felt like it looked nicer and also it was more of a challenge. I didn't look up a reference for braids here, and I should have, because braids are kind of challenging to draw, but when I color them and render them, it kind of hides the imperfections of my inking, and I think it looks great. I draw the emoji as a logo on her shirt, but I decided I don't want to use the emojis in my art, so I don't keep that. Picking the color scheme for her was very weird. She doesn't really care that her clothes don't match, so I picked random goofy colors. And I gave her a Harley Quinn vibe with colored ponytails. Harley Quinn has pink and blue, but my character has orange and purple. And her hair color is already a green color, so it's a lot of colors here, but I feel like it's zany, it's wacky, and it's her. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I really love the zany character. She is probably going to be one of my mainstay characters, one of my OCs. I'm probably going to draw her in other silly scenarios, maybe in a story, maybe in just a portrait mode. I'm not sure, but I really like her, and I don't see any of the other ones that I'm drawing today being better than her. I'm not sure yet, but we will see. I had to rework the eyes a little bit more because I felt like it didn't look goofy enough, so I kind of made it looking more downward, and I think she looks amazing. She is definitely my favorite, my zany emoji. Moving on, let's spin the wheel. The next emoji is a skull. See, my wife is the one that put these emojis together on the wheel for me. I told her to pick random ones so I don't pick the ones I like the most. But I did tell her not to pick any weird goofy ones like the eggplant emoji. Perverts. But I guess she didn't listen. She put the skull in there. I was hoping I didn't get it. But I'm going to tackle this one like I tackled the rest of them. When I'm doing the sketch for this one, I did something that I don't normally do when I'm sketching, and I added a little bit of shading, I guess. And I also wanted to point out that I changed the pose completely. I gave her this sexy looking behind her back look, like that. Do I look sexy? Yeah? You like that? Picking the color scheme for her was easy. I know she's a skull, so she's white. I ended up giving her skin. My original plan was to actually draw a skull with hair, but that's not cute. That's kind of weird. So I instead went for a face paint look. I gave her white face paint. You can see some of her skin tone coming out from behind the face paint. And I also added some paint to her shoulder. And I realized something. I forgot to put clothes on her. She's naked. Don't worry, you can't see anything. And for those of you who want to see some of that stuff, you nasty. I went with long flowing dark hair draped over her because in my imagination, I wanted it to look like the Grim Reaper's hood. She is the Grim Reaper, but she doesn't wear the hood. She just has that long black hair kind of silhouetting her skull face. I think it looks awesome and it's very sexy. And since she's covered in face paint already, I added some more paint to her lips and a little bit of more design features to her face. And I love the way she looks, the skull emoji. It's been a wild ride. Let's see who we end with and spin the wheel. The poop emoji. What am I supposed to do with that? I told her not to put anything weird. How do I make the poop emoji into a pretty girl? Tell me. I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out. I honestly had no idea how I was gonna do this one because it's poop. How do you turn poop pretty? You can put a bunch of soap on poo-poo, but it's still poo-poo. There's nothing you can do to clean up poo-poo. So I started just drawing a pretty girl. And then it hit me. I had this friend in school that sometimes she would come to school with her hair kind of a mess. She would put her hair into a bun, but it would be on the top of her head, kind of like a messy bun, very messy. But it had those kind of tears, like the poop emoji. So my friends and I used to tell her that her hair kind of looked like the poop emoji. But she didn't care. She even came to school wearing a poop emoji shirt a few times with that hairstyle. It was awesome. And I wanted to kind of portray that. She was a very beautiful girl, very cool. So I want to kind of portray her with that poop emoji on top of her head. But I exaggerated it by adding some more buns to the side of her head as well to get more poop emoji in there. For her clothes, I gave her a tank top that's kind of draped over her shoulder like she's a mess. It probably doesn't fit her right. It's kind of stretched out maybe because she's a messy girl. She's inspired by a poo-poo. For the colors, I gave it an off-white beige look, kind of like if it was white at one time, but now it's dirty. I then used a grunge brush to dirty her up, kind of smearing some dirt on her or maybe some poo-poo on her. I dirtied her shirt, put some on her chest, and put some even on her cheeks because she is gross, she is disgusting. I then added some green lipstick because sometimes when you look inside the toilet after you poo-poo, there's some green in there. Should I go to the doctor? I added some flies, and here she is, my poop emoji pretty girl. I love the way these came out. Let me know in the comments down below if you would use any of these emojis in your text messages. And if you like this sort of stuff, if you like learning art and watching people do fun art challenges, you can watch another video right here. I promise it's amazing. And remember, I'm awesome. I think. Thanks for watching.